Hello and Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to Human Resources in History. This podcast aims to offer insights from 7,000 years of human history to help modern human resource practices. I am your host, Makoto. I'm a data scientist and former journalist.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jin, your co-host. I'm an HR professional and passionate history lover.
This podcast series is not just a history lesson. It's a mission to draw connections between the past and the present. Together with us, let us explore the crossroad of human resources and history. So, Jin, this is our very first episode of a Human Resources in History.
Yes.
And we are having a very good start, right? I can't complain.
Yes, exactly. This is the last time we recorded the first version, but that was more like introductory episode.
Yep.
So today we're gonna talk about a real history event, and also we're gonna extract some insights from there and apply to the current HR practices.
Yeah, right. We are having a good start and having a blast, because how many takes have we tried to record this episode so far?
I don't know how, it depends on how you count
This is our third take. Do you remember?
Wow. Yeah, actually true. Yeah, this is the third one.
Yeah, because the first take, the sound quality was terrible. And second take, we didn't like it because our brains were not working. And we had to correct the sentences many, many times.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So this is already the third take.
I hope this is gonna be way better than the previous ones.
Let's hope so. Anyway, let's forget our past mistakes and look at the real history, Jin.
Let's learn from the past mistakes, okay? We're not gonna forget about the past. We're gonna learn from the past.
All right. Yeah, that's the concept of our podcast. Cool. So, Jin, what are we diving into today?
Yes, today we are going to explore what modern recruiters can learn from a very unexpected source. So our very first topic is the Ottoman Empire's Janissaries.
Yay, Janissaries.
Yes, you know them, right? You know the Ottoman Empire.
I mean, yeah, of course, I've heard about it. They're like an empire, right? That I guess controlled much of the southern Europe, probably a bit of Asian part as well. I'm not sure about the timeline, but probably 14th century, I guess.
Yeah, 14th to 20th century, until quite recently. By the way, it's a Southeast Europe. Southern Europe means like Spain, France, right? They controlled over Southeast Europe, like current day Serbia, Bulgaria, those areas.
Ah, I live in that area now.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so I should know about the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, well, of course, I mean, I have visited actually Istanbul a few years ago. You know, when you visit somewhere, you should learn about the history of the places.
Exactly. So I'm sure that you heard about and then you know very well about Janissaries then, because you just said you should learn the history of the places you visit. So please go ahead to explain about Janissaries.
You know what? The Turkish cuisine, it was so good. I had plenty of baklava, kofte, and Turkish coffee, and I tried to learn about the history, but when I realized it was already the last day of my trip and I had to leave. I will give you the honor of explaining what Janissaries are.
Okay, so you gave up. Well, anyway, I'm sure you've heard about Janissaries, but yeah, let me explain a little bit, brief summary of Janissaries. So they were the elite infantry units of the Ottoman Empire. They fought in the army and they played a crucial role. But what's surprising about them is they were not Muslim.
Oh, okay.
So
who are they?
They were Christian youth.
Oh, that's quite surprising because I know the Ottoman Empire was an Islamic state, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the interesting part. Is the Sultan, sort of a king, the Sultan wanted to have a personal army next to him. But they had Islamic laws against enslaving fellow Muslims. So to have this kind of personal army next to him, Christian boys from conquered territories became their choice.
Okay, so they basically conquered other countries and enslaved young Christian people in those territories. Is that correct?
Yes.
But what were the countries where the Ottoman Empire enslaved the Christian people?
Yeah, so like we talked about it a bit, they are mainly from Southeast Europe. So it is believed that they recruited mostly from Balkan countries. right? Like such as Albania, Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia. And after being taken, these Christian boys were converted to Islam and went through intense schooling, like learning languages, arts, military strategy, and more. So this entire system is called devshirme.
So they created this system to train the young Christian boys to Sultan's personal military.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, that sounds like a very bold strategy, but why did the Sultan have this idea of conscripting Christian boys?
Yeah, so first of all, as I said, there was laws against enslaving Muslim people, but he wanted to establish loyalty, absolute loyalty to the Sultan, so that they can have a full control over them.
But why was it important to grow loyalty among the Christian boys? How did this absolute loyalty play a role in the success of the empire?
Yeah, so the Janissaries were not only for one sultan. So there were a lot of, they served for many sultans, right? So the sultans wanted to have this loyalty because they didn't want to have someone around them who can potentially plot coup d'etat or stuff like that, right? So that is why the sultans wanted to have absolute loyalty. But then this loyalty played a significant role in the Ottoman Empire. So for example, the fall of Constantinople in 1453, this battle was led by Mehmed II, the famous sultan. So one of the biggest reasons that Ottoman Empire won this battle is attributed to the Janissaries. They were very important factors of the strategies and tactics in this battle.
Well, I'm a bit scared because it's such a controversial topic. And we are also trying to extract insights that can be useful for business.
Well,
okay, how does this all relate to the modern HR?
Yes, okay, so that's exactly what we're going to talk about. But at the same time, it's very important to talk about a disclaimer before we deep dive into the topic. While we aim to extrapolate insights from this history, we are by no means endorsing any historical malpractices such as the forced conscription of the Janissaries. So that's very important, right?
I'm so relieved that you said that.
Yes, because we are talking about slavery in a sense. We should definitely not bring this kind of a concept into any modern HR practices. So that's why I mentioned this. But anyway, think about this. The Ottoman Empire gathered young Christian people and made them undergo the palace schools. Then the empire appointed them to high-rank responsible state positions. And what they did was basically to tap into an untapped talent pool that might have been overlooked and educate them to become capable of taking important roles in the organization.
You know what? That sounds like a professional football club scouting a diamond in rough from local small teams while they're still, let's say, teenagers, and then train them in the club's academy system until they get promoted to the top team.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same structure. Similarly, today, reaching out to potential candidates early in their career journey, like during university or even high school, can create the sort of robust talent pipeline. So to tap into the market as early as possible. This is a very important concept.
Okay, but I have a question. Why did the Ottoman Empire target the young ones, not the adults? If I were the Sultan, I would think that the grown-up people would be able to fight at the war front right away.
Yeah, but the same question goes to your case about football team. Why do you think they hire kids? That's the same question.
Because the club wants to have an ownership of each player. Even if they grow to a professional, the club wants them to stay.
But at the same time, the club can hire anyone from other teams, for example.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess we can say that the sultans created a sense of loyalty among the young Christian boys from an early stage on. Right? So this is what the football club you mentioned is doing. Develop loyalty as early as possible. And then the Ottomans wouldn't hire them once they became an adult because it's too late for them to develop a sense of loyalty. It eventually paid off in the form of stronger defense for the empire. So in the football analogy, the loyalty is one of the big thing. For example, Lionel Messi, I think he stayed in Barcelona for a long time. He started his career when he was early teen, right?
Right.
And then he stayed. Now he moved to other team, I don't remember. But it's difficult to hire top player from other teams because of the loyalty is one, but cultural fit and also the salary. Most of the case, top player requires tons of money. So if possible, it's good to hire people as early as possible. So this is the same structure when it comes to Janissaries for the Ottoman Empire.
That's a very fresh perspective for me. At first sight, it looked kind of suspicious that we chose this topic. I didn't want to screw up our first episode, but yeah, it does make sense if you look at that principle behind it.
And there are a lot of examples in our modern world. Let me talk about one company called Coel Health. So this is a healthcare provider in the US. They partner with the local colleges to recruit nursing staff, offering internships, scholarships, and even guaranteed job placement. Because the hiring nurse is not easy. So that is why they partner with the schools and tap into the market as early as possible.
So they basically find talents while they're still at school, nursing school, and put those students on their own training path.
Exactly. And also there is another example. In Japan, there is a university called the Toyota Technological Institute. As you can see, it's founded by Toyota to train talented students who will be vital for the company's growth.
Okay, and then what do they teach at the institute?
They teach a lot of things like science and technology from basic to advanced. And in fact, they offer bachelor's and master's and even doctoral degree. They offer a unique mix of academic principles such as mechanical engineering and electrical engineering.
Oh, so they offer degrees. It's an actual school.
Yes, exactly. It's a university.
And the curriculum sounds like a very tailor-made for working at the automobile industry.
Yes, indeed. They invite Toyota Motors employees and provide lectures on Toyota's production practices. So yeah, exactly. So this is quite tailor-made to the automobile industry. They are well recognized in Japan. Its synergy with industry players helps Toyota and the entire industry. The alumni, they work not only for Toyota, but they also get a job in other car companies. Toyota actually supports that so that they can enhance the entire ecosystem.
Sounds very cool, but let me address something, right? I'm not sure if I can apply the lesson that we are learning from the Janissaries directly to the modern world, because back in the time of the Ottoman Empire, what they did was that they forcibly recruited or enslaved young Christian people. So they must have been no way for them to escape, right? That sounds very different from today's recruitment scene.
Yes. That's a very good point, Makoto. Actually, this is one thing we can offer in this podcast. Of course, we need to pay attention to this contextual difference. The Janissaries case was, several hundred years ago. We're also talking about the modern age of practices. Well, it should never happen that companies scout young students in a way that there is no way out. It's unethical. And as we said in the disclaimer, we should never treat any candidate or any human like this. So this is where I want to address the challenges in drawing such historical parallels. Nowadays, people tend to stay in the same company in a much shorter period of time than before. The median tenure among 25 to 34-year-old stands at 2.8 years. It's even less than 3 years. And this has been decreasing. So the situation is totally different. This difference is very important to notice when you get insights from the historical events.
Yeah, that kind of aligns with my daily observations. So it's becoming less and less likely that the young talents you recruited stay in your company for many, many years.
Exactly. So, for example, management training program, it should perhaps be more about enhancing employer branding than solely focusing on developing future executives. Because if you assume that everybody who is hired through this scheme becomes top executives, you're probably disappointed because they probably stay only 3 years. Only probably few of them will stay in the company and become a top executives or take any key roles. So in fact, Toyota Technological Institute is not designed solely for Toyota Motors to recruit, as I said earlier. A lot of students actually get hired by different industry players. So we can say that this institute is successful in a way that it enhances Toyota Motors' brand image, right? Not only to build the future succession plans for top executives.
That's very interesting. So having that program internally is already contributing to a better brand image by providing education for the future talents. And that would be beneficial for other industry leaders as well. So coming back to the point about setting the expectations aligned between employers and the future employees, I guess the clear communication between employers and academic institution is pretty crucial. Even if young candidates are considered as future executives or leaders, they tend to stay shorter and shorter period of time, right?
Yes, exactly. That's right.
Okay, so I think we are coming close to the end of this episode, right? Let's come back to our today's topic. So we talked about how the Janissaries played an important role in the success of the Ottoman Empire. But I'm curious, what happened to the Janissaries in the end?
Yeah, it's also a very important point. Over time, Janissaries deviated from their recruitment criteria, and they grew powerful enough to overthrow sultans.
Oh, really? Oh my God, that's so crazy. So once they were elite and loyal soldiers to the sultans, and they became a threat to the empire.
Yes, exactly. That led to the Janissaries' eventual downfall. So Mahmud II, he was the sultan from 1808 until 1839, disbanded them. So a powerful lesson here, unchecked power can turn entities meant for societal stability into threats.
That's a significant insight, Jin. As we draw lessons from the Janissaries, I think it's essential to keep the broader historical context in mind.
Exactly. Let me just sum up what we learned today from the Janissaries case.
Sure.
It's important to tap into the talent market as early as possible, but also it's important to go into untapped market like the Ottoman did with the Christian youth. So for example, Toyota Technological Institute, they use university to recruit people who probably wouldn't have thought about Toyota as a future employers. So again, the important insight here is to tap into an untapped market as early as possible.
I must tell you, Jin, I should have learned about the Janissaries before visiting Istanbul, because it would have been so much more interesting, right? We should visit Turkey together at some point and record a podcast from there.
Let's make some money before that. But yeah, we can do some like on-site recording.
And then we can taste nice kebab, baklava, and Turkish coffee. And
well, that's what you want to do, I know.
I wouldn't say no.
Don't use Janissaries as an excuse to eat delicious food.
Well, jokes aside, don't forget to hit the follow button, share your feedback, and if you have any story ideas, we are always looking for story ideas for the blogs and podcasts. Please leave a message and comments, and we'll be back with more fascinating intersections of HR and history. Stay tuned and take care.
Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.